Where were the Lakeshore Players? Where was that established?
Probably on some lakeshore. That's just a wild guess, man. I don't know. Smart guy.
They could have called it Golden Pond or something.
No, White Bear Lake.
White Bear Lake.
White Bear Lake.
Where you met the lady who would become your wife.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She had the female lead and I had the male lead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was it? Do you remember the play?
Let's see. Was it Twelfth Night? No. No. Mag, is she out there?
Mag is out there. Yeah. Beautiful Margaret. She is a beautiful lady. Folks, do you believe it? We have them both here. These wonderful gentlemen, these great, great broadcasters whom we all know and love and miss, but they come back, fortunately, from time to time to grace us with their presence, with their talent, with their humor. Roger Erickson
After
and
the
Charlie
break,
Boone.
Roger will tell you where he's going to take Margaret and all the secret. Rustic Row is probably...
He knows all the back roads around
yes,
there, doesn't
exactly.
he, Charlie? In fact, he carved out a few of them. Let's take a break, George. Let's pay a couple bills, make Dan Smith really happy here. He's already happy. What a great guy he is. We'll take a break here. Back with Boone and Erickson. My golly, we're having fun. We are back on a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you so much for your company. Stan Turner with you with some of my real heroes in the broadcasting business. In fact, any business. These guys are gentlemen. They are part of our lives. They are Roger Erickson and Charlie Boone. Yep, they kind of crept out of retirement here for a minute. They're still active. They're still doing things together. They'll be appearing next Wednesday at the Old Log Theater out there in the western suburbs. And this is one of the great duos of our lives or of our times. You know, a long time ago, there was Burns and Allen, Abbott and Costello, Lenin and Trotsky, Sacco and Vanzetti, Preparation and H. But you guys rise to the top when it comes to duo.
How you going to beat stuff like that? Huh?
I actually used those lines on a roast for you guys a few years ago. I was hoping you'd forget. You probably want to.
We have.
Well, back at you, Charlie. Thank you so much.
Roger thought of the name of the play. The play that he met his wife.
Where you met your wife.
I can't believe I forgot the name of the play.
Yep.
Silver Whistle.
She helped write some of the Boone and Erickson stuff, didn't
Well,
she?
she would, especially when it involved England or something,
Well,
or Shakespeare.
Speaking of England, it was, you guys, your humor was always timely and very topical. You drew off current events, which was so great, and your acting ability and the rest was just in the production value was terrific. Thanks to a guy named Tom Osmond, whom I call kind of an audio-video archaeologist. He can dig up some great stuff, and he found some vintage Boone and Erickson bits here. One of which was based on an actual event some couple decades ago where some guy got into Queen Elizabeth's bedroom at Buckingham Palace. He actually breached all the security and got in there. You guys did a turn on that. Kind of an ugly American turn, too, Charlie, where you're the guy that thinks it's a Holiday Inn, apparently. Doesn't know he's in the palace. Let's give it a listen here. This is a scream.
Hey, is this the Holiday Inn, lady?
No, our holiday place is at Windsor.
You got an ice machine out in the hall? I want to send Blanche and the kids out to get some ice. A coupon I got here says we get bed and breakfast. Kids stay free. Is that right?
I beg your pardon?
Hey, what is that guy with a big fur hat and that funny coat out in front? You see him standing out in that little outhouse? He wouldn't even talk to us. I tried to get us to tell you, wouldn't talk to us.
Those are the Coldstream Guards.
Cold cream? My wife uses a lot of that stuff. She uses cold cream on her face, body cream on her body, foot cream on her feet. You know, it's nice, but she keeps slipping on the bed. It's one of the reasons I asked for a queen size. This is a queen size bed, isn't it?
Rather.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's a nice looking room. I look beautiful. Now, Blanche won't complain so much about my cigar smoking. This is a nice big room, high ceilings. Hey, is this the bathroom? Hey, there's no tissue strip across the old throne here.
The throne is in the throne room.
Well, I should hope so. Hey, somebody's already unwrapped the soap. Hey, the soap says right here, by appointment to Her Majesty the Queen.
Yes, that is I.
Yeah, I used to know a burlesque queen back in Toledo. Hey, by the way, what are you doing here?
I am the mistress of the house.
Oh, you're one of those. Well, you'd have to get out of here before Blanche and the kids show up. Hey, is there a Gideon Bible there in the drawer? Hey, say, you got a cigarette?
And now,
Charles Boone and Roger Erickson. Sir Charles Boone and Roger Erickson.
No!
All right.
Say, do you realize that if President Nixon has one more crisis, he'll have enough crises to have his own daytime serial? That's right.
Sarge, what's on the show for today?
Well, some terrific jokes,
Yeah?
witty sayings, and the old timers.
Oh, the old timers.
Say, old timer, you going to talk about the energy crisis today?
That's right. I bought one of those really small cars to get more gas. 40 miles to the gallon.
Wow, 40 miles to the gallon.
I'll tell you, it was embarrassing. I had to stop at 3 more gas stations than the car did.
Oh, it'll be good to hear the old timers. You say he's a bit insecure? He has a life preserver on his rowing machine? Wow. Yeah.
Young man,
Yes, Daddy.
I hear you have been causing trouble for your mother all day. Now, just who do you think you are to disobey your mother? What gives you the idea that you're any better than I am?
Say, when do you know when the honeymoon is over, Maudie?
Oh, my, when you kiss your husband without losing your train of thought. The honeymoon is over.
You want to say one more thing, old timer?
Yeah, I said history was a lot easier when we were in school. Not only was there less of it, but it stayed in one place.
There's a little sampler for you, vintage Boone and Erickson. You guys had a pretty good yuck. You hadn't heard that one for a while. That is great stuff.
That was kind of, we started our show with that opening thing with a few gags.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had more fun. So many people at the station actually got in on the thing, especially Minnesota Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Escala maybe would come back. Do you think Helen Trent should, or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They'd come up with ideas, and it was great.
Larry Haig Jr., who now lives back in St. Paul, was a big executive with Wells Fargo on the West Coast in San Francisco.
Right.
And his father hired both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. These bits, as I said, they were topical, they were fun. 50,000 watts, clear channel, CCO radio, had a reach second to none. I mean, when you guys hit that on-air button, you were all over creation, weren't you? It really is true. Had a huge audience. I remember some of your audience shares, 60%, you owned the whole thing.
I think it was 68 when we both came to the station, and by the time we left, it was not quite 68.
It was sky high. Those bits we just heard, Boone and Erickson, the station put out a compilation, a collection of some of the bits here. They're all printed, and by happy accident, talk about serendipity, I was out at the Minnesota Book Fair at the State Fairgrounds last weekend. Book dealers from all over the country come in. Charlie, you'd love it. Here it is. I think this guy was from Indiana. He had CCO Radio presents The Worst of Boone and Erickson right here. So I got it. I thought this is meant to be.
I hope you didn't pay too much for it.
I did not. I stole it. I shoplifted
good.
it. Absolutely. You know I wouldn't pay for it. I did pay for it. $13, boys.
No.
Yes.
That's inflation for you.
That's ridiculous. It's an outrage. I love the testimonials on the back about why people should not buy the book in this case. Remember the critics say about The Worst of Boone and Erickson? This is from Jim Klobuchar, who's then a columnist for The Star.
And by the way, that's theirs, not ours.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't even.
You didn't even know they were putting this together.
We know they were doing. They wanted to do something like that to hand out at the fair.
Yep.
But we didn't know,
know.
what of our stuff that he was going to use, right?
Right.
Dick stuck putting
This
it
is
together.
intellectual property of yours they took, right? Margaret, this is an outrage. They took your stuff and published it. Anyway, this book, The Worst of Boone and Erickson, there are usually testimonials printed on the back, on the dust cover, why you should buy the book. Well, these testimonials are why you should not buy the book. Klobuchar wrote, "This is not a book, it's a penance. If I were a Catholic priest, I would put it in the confessional. The fear of being ordered to read it would scare all wrongdoers into returning to innocence and virtue."
That's very good.
How about this from the late Dave Moore of CCO-TV? This book has already made history. Before publication, the authors were required to file an environmental impact statement. And this from the late Hubert Humphrey. This is the only book on the market that you won't want to pick up, much less put down. There you go, boys. Anyway, I found it. I paid $13 and I'm happy. The Music Room at Hobbs House.
Yes.
It is said that more babies were conceived during that show than you'd ever believe. He played all that beautiful music.
He did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And Jurgen Nash met his wife in northern England, didn't he?
Right, yeah.
During the war.
When he was a soldier over in England.
It's kind of interesting, a lot of the Cedric Adams, Bob DeHaven and those, back in the 30s they were hired. And then they kept on, they were too old for the war, kept on until these guys who were in the war were able to go to school and take up radio, and then they came on. So it was it was really a wonderful thing that happened there.
I remember Franklin Hobbs. I had a good friend who took me under his wing at CCO, Paul J. Remember him, Roger?
Oh,
Paul
sure,
J?
yes.
Yeah. We lost him at a very young age. Pity, but he was kind of my mentor. I met him because I would go up there on the weekends when I wasn't going to the U of M. And,
You did that too? You'd hang out?
I did.
Yeah.
I did that. And Paul, I didn't meet you guys because you were Monday through Friday and he was on the weekend. But I eventually did meet you guys. But Frank Hobbs been working Friday night. He did the overnight show. Sometimes Paul would sit in for him. And one night Frank was just about to leave early. That would be 1 a.m. or midnight. He looked at me and said, "Kid, take this 20 and go downstairs to the court bar. There's a bar that's still down there on the street level of CCO building. Bring us up. I want a ginger and whiskey," and ask the engineer what he wants. All these people are gone now, so I can say this. I did that in front of a trade race. I wouldn't dare say that a couple of years ago, but that's what happened then. Nobody got stiff. Frank was fine, just had a little taste. He loved Frank Sinatra, Charlie. I know you like him too. He played a lot of Sinatra. The music room at Hobbs House. Eventually, he had his cabin on Gull Lake hardwired, and he did the show from there in his later years.
He'd get phone calls from people like Henry Mancini.
Yeah,
right on the show.
He would.
Henry would be listening out in the desert somewhere.
Right.
His 50,000 watts carries a long way when you're clear channel.
Yeah.
You know, we started these tours because Northwest Airlines was a big advertiser, WCCO radio. Good way to get some extra publicity for them. Plus, they get all the good
got
business.
Some nice trips out of it, didn't you?
So this was in the early '60s, right? Yeah. Charlie went. You were the first one to go.
After Bob DeHaven.
After Bob DeHaven.
Bob got it.
So but this is all in the early '60s. Charlie, then I had my turn to go to Hawaii. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they had, by that time, what was the airplane? Back before the jets. It was a long haul to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this
Probably
is the one that had 110 people.
Stratocruiser, Boeing 97.
It was
I think it was.
the first real jet. Anyway. So we hit the advertising for it, and they came in and by the hundreds. You could only take 110, and it was unbelievable. We decided to take the whole plane. Now, to show you how different things are, we had the Northwest Airlines put on some special champagne for us because it's the first time for me and first I think for this plane. And so people were drinking this champagne, and I think a lot of them weren't quite used to it.
And it's a long trip.
And you could walk up and down the aisles. Remember that, Charlie? You didn't have to stay seated.
Yeah.
Walk up and down the aisle. And so they're drinking this wine, and I'd come up to this one person trying to, talk to each one.
Mm-hmm.
And this one said, this is the first time I've had this since the junior-senior prom. And everybody was, the plane, you land in Honolulu, and it was just basically one building, wasn't it? And you'd taxi up near it, and you'd get out, and you'd take a picture of everybody under the wings. And the guy would be on top of this building and take the picture. And I got people, we still have that picture, people standing kind of like sideways. Oh, another thing.
They were listing a little
Another
port or
thing.
starboard.
To show you what it was like. I go back to they were called stewardesses then, right?
Yes. Right.
Went to the stewardess, and I said, would you mind if I used your mic there just a little bit so I could say something to the crowd? Oh, no, go ahead. Okay. So I got up and I said, hi there. This is your captain speaking, and I hope you're all having a good time. Now, we are going to make a stop pretty soon on the way to Hawaii, and it's going to be right there in Las Vegas. No, wait a minute. Not Las Vegas. Hey, what one was it? Seattle? Oh, because I know it's on the West Coast. I know that. Where is it? Los Angeles. I think it's maybe Los Angeles then. Mm-hmm. But anyway, have a good time.
Have some more.
I mean, you think, would you imagine something like that happening today?
They didn't have the TSA all over you. The FBI would meet you on landing. Yeah, Charlie.
You forget how simple it was to fly in those days.
Yeah. Oh, man, I want to ask you guys about the golden time of Twins baseball. CCO had everything in the way of sports, everything, the Gophers, the pro teams. Halsey Hall, Herb Carneal, Ray Scott. Was there ever